hungry for seafood after watching this. Like, I feel like I just did anybody else get hungry watching her eat that crab?
You want to eat half of her?
Did you see how she?
Her.
Well,
do you think that she ate a real crab, or do you think
it was a lobster?
It was a lobster.
No, I mean a lobster. That was obviously like they made that out of sugar or something, right?
They made it out of it was cake.
Yeah,
it was.
There's no way that was a real crab, right? Because
it was cake with a lightly toasted chip shell.
So it was like it was a cake. It was like an is this cake kind of situation.
Yes, it was
okay,
cake covered in crisps.
Would you eat a cooked lobster like that if it wasn't cake pretend lobster? Would you eat that for an acting role?
I don't like to fight my food. So that's kind of my general principle. Like if something is hard for me to eat, I'm just not going to eat it. I'm just going to, if it's not, and even lobster, like when I have lobster, if it's not like flipped out, I don't want it.
You're like, I don't want to work for this. Like, I don't need to, I don't need to scoop this out myself. You do it.
I don't eat lobster unless it's in lobster mac and cheese.
I also love lobster mac and cheese. It's good. That is good.
Here's how pathological I am. For a joke, I would absolutely eat a lobster shell if I thought people would laugh. And that was a good joke.
It was.
It was funny.
It was funny.
You didn't think it was? I thought it was funny when she was eating the lobster. I thought it was great.
Yeah, but it wasn't worth it.
I wish he had kind of thought it was charming. He seemed a little embarrassed. I wanted him to be a little more charmed by it, honestly. Yeah. Like, that's your woman is hungry and she's eating and you should be loving it. Yeah. Love your woman and her weird eating habits.
I mean, I feel like maybe if he wasn't trash, maybe.
Yeah.
He would, but.
That's fair. This is just another example of Alan being trash.
I'm telling you, that's my TED Talk. That is my thesis.
Alan is trash. It's on the PowerPoint behind you.
Yeah, if you would come look at the screen, I provided a bulleted list.
Here's all the things with pictures.
Yes.
From the movie. I also thought the joke where he gives her the present and she is like, this is great. And it's just a box. That made me laugh too. I thought that was another good joke.
It was funny. She was like, it's beautiful. It's like,
and he's like, there's something inside of it. Why didn't that music box come back? Anyway. I mean, that's why he got it for her because she likes music, right? I couldn't quite figure it out. Why the dancing?
Yeah.
It should have been a globe with some fish in it or something, right?
I thought
two on the nose.
I thought the gift was weird. But
yeah, when did I ask you for a dancing snow globe? I don't remember asking for that.
That was stupid.
It was dumb.
Well, I tried to reason with myself and say like he gave it to her because she said she loves music, but then why not get her a trombone or something?
Well, then like get her a CD. Like what is the
here's a Miles Davis record.
Yeah, it's like where did you get this snow globe? It's so specific, and it's it's a Tiffany box. So like
I know that was expensive. Men, am I right? Like they don't know what we want. Welcome to the Feminine Mistake Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
I'm your other host, Sarah.
And today, rejoining us for part 2 of our Splash discussion. Please welcome back to the show, improviser and performer Ray.
Hi. Hello.
And welcome. Welcome back to this party, this ocean party that we're having.
It feels like a party. I'm excited to be here.
So before we get back into our dissertation on is Alan trash, and in what ways? Before we get back into that, what have you guys been watching? What have you ladies been watching? Fabrae, what have you been watching?
So I've been watching. Okay, so I just finished watching the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yes, was that good?
No.
Okay.
Well, you know what?
Several tweets that didn't even name the movie. They just said, "Don't watch it."
Yeah, it's for me. I am a nerd. That is something everyone knows.
Yep. Fellow nerd here. I reciprocate.
Yeah. So like, I feel like I enjoyed seeing Mortal Kombat characters doing stuff, but outside of just the pure sensory pleasure of seeing Mortal Kombat characters in live action, everything else I did not like.
Were the fights good? Yeah. Was the fight choreography at least good?
No. Well, the very first, there's an opening scene, I'm not going to spoil it, which is probably the tightest fight choreography that I've seen.
So just watch
in the whole
that
movie.
and then turn it off.
Yes, honestly, once
Okay.
you hit the title screen, just like, okay, that's it. That's all
You're
I
like,
needed.
that was fun.
Mhm.
I'm glad I watched. I'm done now. The
Yeah,
end.
10 out of 10. Well, 8 out of 10 for just the intro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mortal Kombat, not high recommend, but watch it up to the titles and then just turn it off and maybe watch Splash again.
Yes.
Sarah, what have you been watching? Bless you.
I'm so sorry. I watched the first episode of this Thai, like, soap opera type show.
Oh, fun. What's it called?
Unlucky Ploy.
Unlucky Ploy.
And the main character's name is Ploy.
Got it.
And she is there's two main characters. So there's this guy who is a Foley artist.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
And the woman, the first episode is about how she calls off her wedding.
Okay.
And how her parents are so upset and her boss is so upset and all of her friends, like no one understands. Like, it's very like she is shamed.
Oh.
And it turns out that she was the dumpee. So they're all blaming her for calling it off, but she actually was
She
one
got
who
dumped.
was dumped. Yes.
Yikes.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Yeah. So it's like a soap opera kind of thing, but it's
Okay.
really like fun and it's Thai. So it's a different culture and a different language, but I would recommend it. Like, it's not fabulous art, but it's like really fun and it looks great.
And you're like wrapped up in the story.
You're wrapped up in the story.
Nice.
Exactly.
I'm gonna write that down.
And yeah, so it's something that we just like stumbled upon. I think we searched for Thai because we had just made some Thai food. So we were like, let's see if there's any Thai shows.
Let's keep in the line with this. Cool. Yeah. And where can you watch that? Netflix. Excellent. Okay. Speaking of Netflix, I just started Shadow and Bone last night. So I don't know if you guys have heard it. Fabrae, you might be interested in this. Shadow and Bone is one of those like it's like a fantasy kind of show, and it's like basically there's this big like sort of stormy kind of big cloud, like the nothing kind of thing in the Neverending Story that separates two halves of the world that we're in. But sometimes you have to go into it to get back and forth across these nations to get supplies. But if you go in, you might be eaten by monsters. And there's also in this world, like basically witch kind of people that they're born with certain abilities, like they can bend air, or they can make fire, or whatever, or they can, slow down your heartbeat, or some different things. And then there's one power, and this whole thing, this big thing, this storm thing, was created by somebody who can make shadows. And so there's a character on the show who's like the general of the army who can also make shadows, but he can't fix it because they said you can't fight fire with fire, right? So, so what they're looking for is a person who can actually summon the light. So rather than summon the shadow, they need somebody who can summon the light. And then they find, by accident, a young woman, the protagonist of the show, comes into her abilities and discovers that she is this person that they're talking about who they need to summon the light. So it's one of those things. But anyway, so it's without saying too much more about it, I'm only 2 episodes in, enjoying it so far. Ben Barnes from the Chronicles of Narnia movies is in it. And then a bunch of other unknowns that I'm not sure of. The cast is very diverse, which I always like to see. And there's the female characters have agency. My problem with with fantasy shows generally is that often at the beginning they're throwing me all these places and names and people that I should care about, but I'm like, I don't. Like, you all seem to care about this a lot, but I don't yet.
Mhm.
And I feel like there was some of that, but for the most part, they did a good job of kind of setting everything up and introducing everyone. I was like, okay, I get it. You're that. You do this thing. And I'm not like hooked, like, oh my God, I'm so fucking addicted to this 2 episodes in, but I'm enjoying it and we'll keep watching it. I
Okay.
like the characters. I'm curious about where it's going. It looks good. The acting is good. And I'm enjoying it so far.
There's a book.
Yes.
I haven't watched it. I mean, read it.
Yeah.
But I am aware of it. So
Mhm.
maybe I'll read the book first
Yeah.
because that's the type of person that I am, and then I'll check it out
Absolutely.
after.
Yeah, go for it. But yeah, I think all the episodes are out on Netflix now. So this is a bingeable one. But basically, we finished Falcon and Winter Soldier. Loki doesn't come out until June, so we were like, we got to do something in between. So we're not watching them all at once. We're kind of spreading them out a little bit, which is weird because like I went from watching shows week to week to binging them on Netflix to now I'm accustomed to Disney Plus releasing them slowly. I kind of like having, especially during the pandemic when there's not a whole lot going on in my life. I like that. I like that feeling of like, oh, it's Friday, Mandalorian's coming out, or oh, it's Friday, WandaVision's coming out. It gives me something to look forward to in my sad, boring life. So I do feel like I kind of like spreading it out a little bit, giving me
Yeah.
something to do. You know,
I don't because I forget what's going on and I lose interest and I just.
So you're just gonna wait till it's all out there. I mean, Shadow and Bone is all out, but I don't know. I don't know if you're a big fantasy person, Sarah.
I
I'm
like
not-
to let it build.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm not really big into genre stuff, but I feel
It's
like
true.
everything is some kind
But
of
this has
genre.
like romance in it, so you might like that. It's like got a romance angle kind of thing. No,
Okay.
and that is the one thing that turns me off. That I
Mhm.
remember when the Hunger Games first came out, the book
Mhm.
series,
Mhm.
and my librarian who I was friends with,
Mhm. I love that
was
you're
like,
friends with your librarian. That's amazing.
yeah, she was like recommending it to me, and I was just like, I told her, I was like, I cannot do it if it has anything to do with romance. She's like, there's romance, but it's not the main story. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And
Well, it doesn't
so-
seem to be the main story, but there's definitely a like sexual tension between her character and this character and the childhood friends. And are they going to get romantically involved? There's that whole thing. It seems like it's building to some kind of triangle,
mhm.
but that's not what at this point the whole
And
focus of the story
until
is.
someone is bold enough to allow the female lead to date both of them simultaneously,
Why
I don't want
not?
anything
Why
to do
can't
with
she
it.
have both?
That's what I'm saying. Just like let her have both. Like, why does it need to be a decision? They just need to get along with
You
each
know
other.
what? I agree. Like they just need to be like, look, if you want me, you're gonna have to also be okay with me dating him.
Yeah.
Why not? You know what?
Someone's got to be bold enough to do it.
I never thought of it that way, but now I want to see that. Where she's like, you know what? I'm not gonna choose. I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna put my hands together. And that's not necessarily as a sandwich, but maybe.
I'm just saying we never see it.
You're right.
So I'd like to see it.
You know what? Because that's what tires me out about these love triangles. Is it's like I always feel like it's men competing for like territory, and it's like I don't fucking want to see that. I'm so tired of that. But you're right. Like, why does she have to choose?
Yeah.
You've
Either
blown
she
my
chooses,
mind.
I would like to see a female lead either choose nobody or take both of them.
Because I have come around to the point where I feel like I don't mind romance with my badass female characters because I want them to have love and sex because men get that all the time in movies. Like they're often rewarded with love at the end of the movie. So why can't a woman be rewarded with love? But yeah, like why do we have to have this be some kind of purity of love contest? You know?
Yeah.
Like, you've blown my mind and now I demand it. I demand it.
I'm glad I could help.
Are you guys ready to get back into talking about this movie?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
The house is a mess, Jack. The kids are a mess, Jack. You're a mess, Jack.
You have been a total bitch ever since you came to New York.
You seem sort of distant.
Let's just do it, man.
You look stupid and rich. Stupid and rich.
Fascist.
All right, let's get into it.
We hadn't talked at all about Walter Kornbluth. I think we need to.
Let's do it.
Walter
talk about him.
Kornbluth,
Levy.
played by Eugene Levy, who, by the way, I was like, I've been watching Schitt's Creek recently, and I was like, wow, Dan Levy looks more like his dad than I even realized. Like,
Yeah.
it's been a while
Yeah.
since I've seen young Eugene Levy. And I was like, oh my God, they look this fucking same. Like, they look
Yeah.
so alike. It's crazy.
Hmm.
But he's like I was very confused about his profession. They said he was a marine biologist, but also maybe a paleontologist. Like, I don't know
Or
what
an anthropologist or
A
something.
Paleontology has to do
marine
with this.
paleontologist.
But he's like scuba diving. I don't know. Anyway, they didn't say what he was down there for, but he sees a woman with fins
I think
on.
he was looking for her. He was looking for
But
her as a mermaid.
They didn't say. Like, I thought he was down there for something else, and then he saw a mermaid, and he was like,
thought
"Oh my
he
God, there's a
was, yeah.
mermaid down here."
Yeah.
He said something like, "It's her. It's the mermaid." And he's like, "Wait, I have to take a picture of you."
Okay.
Yeah, so I think he went, but it stems my question about that, which was, later on in the movie, it says something about having maps to all of the places that a mermaid has been spotted.
Yes.
So she has been spotted before.
Well,
and
no,
so
he said that his professor had maps of all the places mermaids have been spotted. So I think that meant over time in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
That's how I took it to mean.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was just her.
that
I think it was like all mermaids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, does that mean that is she by herself out there and they've seen her before? Or is she, I'm just like the implications of there being a map of where all the mermaids were spotted and him going to one of those locations and seeing a mermaid.
I did not make that connection at all. I thought it was like his teacher had told him myths in school and he just kind of got confirmation by seeing her in the ocean. I honestly interpreted it as he was down there for some other research, saw her because he seemed so surprised that it seemed to me like this was his first time seeing an actual mermaid. And so my question was, why is the first thing he's jumping to is that's a mermaid and not perhaps this is a woman doing cosplay underwater? Like, it was like mind-boggling to me that his first thought is, oh, that's obviously a mermaid, which is something I think we would all immediately jump to.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you. I think that's why I just assumed that he was there for her.
What you're saying makes more sense. And I don't know that was in the movie because I feel like he was down there for something else. And I think that his teacher, having talked about mermaids, was more theoretical and not like something, I don't know. It is kind of unclear because they do make fun of him as though he's been looking for mythical creatures before. So I think it is unclear, but maybe you're right. To me, he was so shocked to see a mermaid that I was like, I felt like he was not expecting her to be down there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree.
But what you're saying makes more sense narratively.
I think that's probably, I just jumped to that conclusion. But if I think about what evidence I had that led me there was just that, to me, he did seem surprised to actually find her. But I cannot fathom why else he would be down there, if not to.
He was down there for something else. I forget what it was, but I know that he was doing research of some kind. They did talk about it. And also one other thing, why were the two men who were with him so dumb?
Comedy? ?
Was it funny is my question.
No,
it wasn't.
By the way, can we talk about how much yelling there is in this movie? I feel like the direction, I feel like Ron Howard's direction in every scene was, let's do it again, but make it in all caps.
Yeah, yell it. This is the most.
Everyone was yelling constantly.
Yeah. And I did make a note of the yelling, actually. I was like,
three times.
I was like, this is the most I've ever seen Tom Hanks yell. I was like, Tom Hanks is really yelling in this. So
at least Tom Hanks yelled a lot. Like, that was kind of his thing. And Eugene Levy, I guess, also yelled a lot. So there was just a lot of yelling. There was just so much yelling.
But if we're really talking about Eugene Levy's character, I kind of felt like he was not, to me, I just kind of felt like he wasn't really well thought out. I didn't understand a lot of what his motivations were, like what he's doing, like what he's doing.
He was not developed.
I think it was the whole classic, like, scientist must get scientific recognition at all costs. I think that was kind of the placement of him.
Villain scientist.
The villain scientist, yes. I think that was his character, and you're right, it was kind of underdeveloped.
The actual scientist who was a villain as well.
Yes.
But yeah, there was a real scientist who actually had like funding and a lab, and the guy wasn't even supposed to be at the Eugene Levy. He wasn't even supposed to be part of it. He wasn't actually a part of it.
I think did that so that Eugene Levy could have a change of heart. Because if he had just been the evil scientist, then we wouldn't have had him. But honestly, the change of heart was satisfying. Were it not for the fact that this time, viewing it as an adult woman, I didn't feel this way as a child, but as an adult woman, I was like, he's a fucking stalker. Like, he is dressing up, being places where she's going to be.
Trying to get her wet.
The whole, even the whole hose was like, it was like a gun. It was like he was.
And he shot it at her. That's
shot it at her outside. It felt, I don't think they meant it like this necessarily but he was stalking her.
Yeah, he's stalking her.
And he felt
he kept getting her confused with another woman.
I know. He felt like entitled to her the same way that Alan does, but in a different way. Like Alan felt entitled to her affection.
Yeah.
And Eugene Levy felt entitled to her as an object, which is very stalkery.
Yeah.
Like, she belongs to me. She's my discovery. But it did feel like he was, I felt like the imagery was actually kind of frightening to me as a woman personally.
Yeah, definitely.
And if it wasn't for the fact that, again, I love Eugene Levy, the actor, so much, I would have had a much harder time at the end with that turn where because I think he played it very well, where he's realizing, like, I've done something bad and I feel bad about it. And I feel bad about what I've done to her. And, like, how can I fix it now? Like, I believed him because the actor was good. But the way that they portrayed him and his actions in the first half of the movie was actually kind of disturbing to me.
Yeah, I believed his character change, but I just kind of felt like, because I feel like most of his character was undefined, the only thing that I really took out of the character is that he did something that now he feels bad about. And I'm just like, but is this not what you wanted? Like, what is it like? And of course he says later he didn't really consider the implications. Yeah. He didn't think about it. So I guess, okay, fine. But I don't know. I was just like, okay.
I didn't buy it. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't.
You didn't buy it?
It wasn't satisfying for me because I didn't know where his character was coming from to begin with, and then when he changed, it was like, well, why? Like, it didn't seem to make much sense why he would change his mind.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, how did you not? She starts to get ill. Like, her skin is flaking off.
That's it. Like, so that's all it takes is for her to get ill. Like,
well, also, I don't think, to be honest, I don't think he got what he wanted from. He didn't get the satisfaction. He didn't get the satisfaction he thought. So he didn't have that to distract him from the moral quandary he was feeling, I guess. I mean, you're not wrong. It was, we didn't really see it was not it wasn't a super nuanced turn, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that completely. It was just kind of like, I did it. Oh, well, now I feel bad about it. It's like, okay.
Oops, her scales are peeling off, and now I feel bad about it.
Her skin's falling off, and it's like, oh, okay. I mean, okay, but that's closer to the end. It is
like, if you think about it, like, a scientist is probably not going to be super disturbed by the idea of them cutting her open and looking at her reproductive system, but he was, so we're just going to roll with it. So I want to talk about the fight that they have at the roller rink.
Oh my God. Can we?
So he asks her to marry him because she has to go back in 6 days. Or at that point, like 3 more days.
So yeah, 3
So
more
they
days.
go on a date. They're like on the not roller rink, the ice skating rink.
Yeah, ice skating rink.
And so he wants her to marry, like, he was going to ask her at dinner, sort of, but he was more like just if you, practically speaking, want to marry me. It wasn't a proposal. And then he tries it again at the roller rink. I keep calling it a roller rink. It's a skating rink. And then she says
we're following.
No. She says no, and he gets mad and, like, is very mean to her.
He's so mean. Yeah. Alan
reminds
sucks.
me of those men who, like, if you text them and you don't respond right away, or you don't, and they're like, fuck you. Like,
yeah, they're like, you're ugly, bitch.
Yes.
He gets very mad. And I actually don't have a problem with that because Alan's behavior is not emotionally healthy. Like he is throwing his entire job away for this woman. He's got this strange woman in his place. He's questioning it a little bit because it's bothering him. He's talking to his brother about it. But like he falls in love with her super quick, wants to marry her after like 2 or 3 days, which is fucked up.
It's weird.
So
Very
it's
strange.
not out of character, I think, for him to get upset and like, fight with her about it. But here's what I would have liked to have seen, because what happens is they fight, then she runs off because it's raining and she doesn't want him to see her turn into a fish. Because we've already established that when she gets wet, she turns into a fish. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he spends all night looking for her. And he's like sitting on the dock, and the next morning and she comes back and she's like suddenly like, yes, I'll marry you. Like she thinks about jumping into the water. And I guess that was meant to be good enough for us to go, oh yeah. So she decides not to go back. Get it. She made a decision. What I would have liked to have seen that would have been more satisfying to me personally is if he had to make some kind of personal or emotional sacrifice to change her mind. I think that was missing for me.
Mm-hmm.
He never told her why he wanted to marry her. He didn't say anything like, there was nothing like, I know we've only been together for a couple days, but I've never felt this way about anybody and I can't imagine losing you. Nothing like that.
It was it was to help with
immigration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she came from a different country.
Yeah. So I feel like I needed him to make some kind of personal Hail Mary. I needed that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to put this in the box of this movie was written by men, because they're not thinking about what I need to make the turn believable.
Yeah. I will say when that happened, when she came back, I had no idea why she said yes. At
Exactly.
That point.
You don't.
Like,
there is
I was
no
just
reason.
like, she just comes back and she's like, okay, yes. I'm like, but nothing changed. Like the same reasons that you said no are still applicable.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing that I want to highlight, and if it happened, I didn't catch it.
Mm-hmm.
He never asks her. They never have a conversation about it. He never asks her why. Like he just said, no, just no. You don't even want to kick it around a little bit. And she's just like, no, I don't want to kick it around. I'm telling you no.
Yeah.
But I mean, there could have been a conversation, but he was so like, okay, fine.
How dare you say no to me?
Yeah, how dare you refuse me? And then he ices her out for the rest of their date. And it's just,
I was like such a dick about it.
Yeah. And I would say, I would agree that I think that this is in character for him. It was in character for him. I was not surprised by his reaction.
Especially after his reaction to her, like, locking the bathroom door. Maybe she's taking a shit in there. Leave her alone. I know.
And then he broke down the door.
Can a woman not take a shit by herself?
He broke down the door.
She said, no, don't come in.
She said, no, don't come in.
And then he comes in and she's like, and he's like, why? And then she's like, I was shy. And he's like, were you, like, lists all the way, like that.
All the places they've done it in his apartment.
That.
Yes.
Like,
I didn't like that either. I agree.
Feel
shy.
That
was not a good look on Alan.
Like, I feel shy sometimes. And sometimes I don't want anyone to see me naked, even my boyfriend.
Allowed to close the fucking door if I want to.
Like, and lock it
just
if
because
I want.
It's kind of the argument, like, just because I had sex with you once doesn't mean I want to have sex with you again.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Did I ask for your motherfucking help?
Yeah. But then also, I mean, she could just be, my first thought, I lock my door and when I'm in the bathroom, regardless, it just doesn't matter. But I could be changing a tampon. Like, I don't need you. I don't need an audience for that.
I don't. I can do whatever I want in that bathroom. It's my business.
Yeah, and then the fact that he broke down the door, I'm just like, y'all.
I mean, I guess we're supposed to think that because he heard the falling down, that now he's got to go rescue her. But she said, "I'm fine. I don't need you to come in here. Go away."
She said, "No, I'm good. Thank you.
She
Appreciate
could be having a period thing.
It could be a period thing. Like
lady
I said,
problems.
Yeah, lady problems, and it's just like, regardless of what it is, it's not for you. No, I said, don't come in. So
I think that moment connects perfectly to his behavior in the roller rink.
Yeah,
I keep saying roller rink. It's not a roller rink. It's an ice skating rink. Whatever.
Nicole.
Yeah, he feels entitled. Every single man in this movie
all feel entitled to her, to her body. Yes,
and
I agree.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with Sarah when she said, like, it does kind of align very closely when people say, like, oh, well, we've already slept together, so why can't why can't I just do whatever I want with your body?
Yeah.
Why can't I own your body now that I've had sex with you?
Right.
So, yeah.
Sidebar, I think the mermaid effects in this movie are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like her skin changing to the scales in the bath, like outside the bathtub, the fin unfurling, like all the times we see her as a mermaid, like I thought all that was very good.
Yeah.
Agreed. I love the practical
Really
effects
good.
of
Also,
of the unfurling.
She must have Daryl Hannah must have trained, or her stunt person must have trained to like swim with the fin, not the fin.
I think that's really funny that a couple
flipper.
times you could see that it's clearly the stunt person in the water and not Daryl Hannah. Like from a distance, when she like pokes her head up out of the water, I'm like, that's not Daryl Hannah. They probably weren't expecting me to watch this in HD. They didn't have any idea that I was going to be able to see how that's definitely not Daryl Hannah. How would this movie have been different, you think, if she had been allowed to interact with another woman?
Oh God.
Like she never interacts with another woman except for at the shopping mall where where the shop clerk tells her that her daughter is lucky because she's anorexic.
She has an eating disorder. Yeah.
Ugh.
Fuck.
Barf.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
And that was definitely supposed to be a joke. And I'm just like,
okay. Yeah.
Oh,
like, all right.
Like, I didn't think that, like, the person I saw it with thought that he was like, oh, well, that was definitely a joke, right? Like, at least that was a joke. And I didn't hear it as a joke. I heard it as, that's what this woman believes. This character believes that. And it didn't feel like a joke to me.
It was. I thought it was supposed to be played as a joke. Yeah,
I agree that
the
character, like within the context, that character was not joking. The character
we were
was
meant
not joking.
to laugh about it, though. Yeah,
yeah, but the movie was setting that up as a joke, which I don't agree.
I don't care for that joke.
No,
I don't care for it either.
What if Freddie had been a woman instead? I'm just saying. I'm just throwing out the differences. How would this have changed the movie if he had a sister instead of a brother? How would it have changed this movie? Because you could have easily put a woman in this movie. How would it have changed it if the doctor scientist person was a woman?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think?
I'm just saying, like, you could have put a woman in here and it would have made some cool changes. We didn't have to have this. This didn't have to be such a sausage party, is what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely. But if we were to just kind of really think about what if Alan had an older sister instead of an older brother, I 100% think that everyone who she came in contact with would comment on the fact that she was being a promiscuous woman.
Of course.
Like, I feel like that would 100% have been spoken on.
Yes.
They would have sat with it, and then she would have had she would have had to overcome it by the end of the movie, one way or the other, by meeting a man or whatever the case.
Maybe so, in this time period for sure, but also like a woman scientist who is, creating this trauma, because that's what she experiences as a mermaid, being experimented on as trauma. A woman who creates this trauma perpetrated on another woman, that would have been an interesting dynamic, and then has a change of heart about it. I'm just saying, like, if she had interacted with another woman, or if there had been some woman in the movie who was just like, what is happening?
I know.
Like,
you've
known her for 2 days. Why are you marrying her? Like, I'm just like, there could have been, like, how would this movie have been different if there had been a fucking woman in this movie besides the mermaid?
Agreed.
They could have brought the mother back to be a voice of reason, honestly, because she wasn't dead. The dad was the only one that they know that's dead. They didn't care
about the mother to tell us where she is.
Yeah, no, the mother was just not mentioned.
Women are not important in this movie.
No.
Even Madison is not. I mean, even Madison has everything done to her, really.
Yes.
Although,
she's not
again,
a character
I
with
think
agency.
I think one of the things I did, I think the movie uses it as a fantasy, but I do think that her, like this is the thing, this is why I liked it that she said no to being married to him. And she could have continued to say no and still at the end asked him to come with her into the ocean. And that, it's like, I liked that she said no.
But also, I love it.
I liked that she was like, I'm going to gonna find a map in New York, and I'm gonna go get me some human dick. I want human dick right now, and I'm gonna go get it. And I got 6 days, and I'm gonna make that 6 days count. I liked that. But I don't think the movie did that because they wanted to give her agency. I think they did that because they wanted to make her a fantasy. And it's very clear to me that they did do that for that reason. Hot, available woman who just wants to fuck.
But do you think
right?
I don't think it was just the sex. Like I think she did enjoy the sex and did want that, but I think that she wanted love. Like she remembered him from when she was a kid.
Sure.
She didn't remember him because she wanted to sleep with him. She remembered him because of that interaction she had when they were kids, when they were innocent, and
but she did jump on him the moment they got.
She did, but that doesn't necessarily have to just be about sex.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, 'cause to me, I just
appreciated a woman enjoying sex, you guys. That's it. I just appreciated that.
And that's fine. I think that's perfectly fine. But to me, like when I was watching it, just when she kept kissing him, I was like, maybe she thinks that she needs to give him CPR. Like it did not connect to me that she was like, I was like, why is she kissing him so much? And then also I didn't see it as necessarily like a lustful kiss. It seemed very innocent.
She bit her lip a bunch. She did this thing.
She did bite her lip a lot.
Which is the international sign in the 80s of I want sex.
She did bite her lip a lot.
But also, like she seemed to care about him. Like she seemed to want to be with him, like with him romantically.
Sure. I agree, but she knew she was going back though, Sarah. So she didn't go there looking for a long-term relationship. She knew she was going to be there for 6 days, and then she was going to peace out. You know, back to the ocean.
Now that we've mentioned the timeline, I thought it was strange, a strange writing choice that, Alan was at first, he was like, yeah, I'll go with you. And then I'll come back for like Christmas and stuff for like 6 days. And then I'll go back. And she's like, well, no, you can never go back. And I'm just like, why?
Plot hole.
Yeah. I was like, why
can't she go back? Because they're wanted by the government. They're being chased by army guys in a Humvee.
Well, no, I mean, like,
we don't know how the magic works. Remember, he's only safe when he's underwater with her. So maybe if he leaves, the magic gets broken. I don't know. I wasn't bothered by that at all.
Well, I think explain it. Just say it.
No, they didn't.
Just say why.
Just say one sentence.
Because I don't get it. Because like she was able to come back for 6 days, so it just to me logically it makes sense that he would be able to come back for a certain amount of time.
They're going to resurface in Bali or somewhere where nobody knows where they are, and then Freddie's going to meet them there. They're going to have some Mai Tais, and then Alan's going to go back into the ocean. That's what I just
know. I feel like she never said he couldn't come out of the water. It sounded like she was saying he could never.
He can't come back to the surface. He can't come back. You're right. I mean, she did seem like, but I'm just saying, like, I just assumed that eventually they're going to resurface somewhere else.
I didn't assume. I thought she was saying, no, we can't, but there was no explanation.
Well, what we needed was a scene with Ursula under there making a bargain with her about how long she can come back with her legs.
Yeah.
But nobody cares about her character, so we didn't get that.
No one explains why she can have legs. Like the first time I saw her, I was like, what the fuck? Why does she have legs?
I actually don't mind that because I don't like it when movies have to over-explain everything. I was like, okay, she has legs.
I need explanations. Like I think it's lazy when you don't write explanations. It's lazy.
I think it was okay. For me, I think it was okay that it wasn't explained that she has legs sometimes and sometimes she has a fin if she gets it wet. Like I was like, okay, I kind of understand the what you're doing. But I felt like it was a grievous injustice that I did not see Tom Hanks in a fishtail. I needed, I don't understand.
He should have turned into a merman. I like that.
He should have turned into a merman.
I just assumed that at the end of the movie when they decide to swim off together, that somewhere around that, like a pruny nude Tom Hanks is just swimming alongside of her with his like pruny wiener just wagging around in the ocean. Sarah does not like that.
I don't like that.
Sarah,
no.
You guys don't like it. I just was like, he's going to be swimming around with his human pruny legs, and
why doesn't he get a tail? Like
he should have. Yeah, you're right.
He should have had a tail.
I'm confused at the end about if he actually stays with her.
Yeah, of course he does.
He says no, and then
he changes his mind. Yeah, right. He changes his mind. I thought that was clear to me.
get that. It wasn't clear to me because I was like, you just said no. Why are you then just jump? It's a huge decision. It's a huge decision. Why would you say no and then immediately change your mind?
Well, I was clear to me, but I suppose he could have jumped off the side and said, "Somebody forward my mail," and then like he could.
That would have been
such
fun.
A huge thing. It's like jumping off a cliff. Like,
well, he doesn't. What's he gonna go back there and hang out with Freddie? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, he said that that's what he wanted to do.
2 days.
I don't know.
It
was weird.
The mechanics of this, but like, do they have to dry off for them to for him to have sex with her again, or is there like a?
I don't see how. I was also thinking that
hole somewhere. Like, I just
speaking of fish hole, the lighthouse.
Oh,
right. Do you remember that?
Oh God, this is something I'm not in on, and I'm not sure if I want to be in on it.
No, it's terrible. It's terrible.
I mean, I'm just saying this relationship seems to be primarily built on sex. I know you guys don't think
only,
so, but I think so. Only built on sex, and if now that she's a fish, he can't get it in anymore. I don't know where this is going.
No, I think that this relationship is very much based in sex.
If there are any paleontological biologists who could
in the audience,
tweet at us at FemMistakePod. Please let us know.
How do mermaids have sex?
How do mermaids fuck? Can please help us out? We need to know.
I'm thinking completely asexual, where she lays eggs and he just kind of.
So does he shoot sperm out into the air and then she gathers it into her pouch like a seahorse?
Oh no! See, I wasn't thinking that.
The babies when they're seahorses.
Yeah.
So he's got to gather it in his pouch. Got it.
But where's the pouch? Where's the hole? Where are the eggs coming from?
No, I'm thinking like a bass. Like there's like a clutch of eggs.
Okay.
There's like the girl bass,
the she bass.
Yeah, the she bass. Yes. She kind of she generates a
sack
clutch of eggs,
okay.
A sack of eggs.
Okay.
And then the male bass comes through and he just kind of carpet bombs it with this sperm.
That seems no fun at all.
No, it's completely divorced from pleasure. It's just
he doesn't know what he just signed up for.
No, he's just like just
they're gonna have to find a grotto where she can dry off. Is the thing. I'm just saying, this is what I was thinking about at the end of the movie as they're swimming off, and I'm supposed to be like, "Oh, that's beautiful."
Nicole's
but I'm like,
mind is always on
why is he still wearing shoes?
Yeah, no, I definitely thought, how are they going to bang?
How are they going to bang
now?
That's what I'm confused.
Yeah,
that's what I need to know.
I was not thinking that. I was thinking like
I thought that.
Like, why? What just happened? Like,
Sarah's
why?
Like, who's going to take over? Sarah wants to know who's going to take over his lease. Who gets the fountain?
Oh my God, the fountain.
The fountain was weird.
He's like, this was so big.
I thought that scene was super funny because it reminded me of every time I've ever sent Chris to the grocery store and he comes back with like 20 bags of tortilla chips because there was a buy one, get one free. And then I'm like, I love how many tortilla chips there are. Thank you for the 20 bags of tortilla chips that I definitely am glad that you brought home. Like that was a mood that I really identified with.
I think that the fountain specifically was weird because he asked how she got the money and she never explained it.
She sold the necklace.
Oh, she sold the necklace. Okay.
Which must have been worth at least $100,000 because that was a big ass fountain.
Yeah, but that was like a real cheap looking. Like I'm not an appraiser of jewelry.
I agree. I was like, that thing is worth $15 tops.
Yeah, that is like a shell and some twine. Yeah, that's not. I
mean,
no.
That's just like 2 steps above a puka shell necklace.
Yeah, no, I mean, if even 2, it was real cheap.
Yes. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Shit. What? Let's see here. I think we're at the point where we can do final thoughts. Final thoughts on Splash. Who'd like to go first?
You go first, Sarah.
Me?
I love that face. I want to see what you have to say.
I just think that, gosh, I don't have a cohesive thought other than I don't like Alan. I don't like the mermaid. I don't like
Madison.
Madison, sorry. I don't like John Candy. I don't like Eugene Levy. I don't like the scientist.
You don't like anyone in this movie?
I don't like anyone.
Okay.
I think this movie was
this better or worse than watching While We're Young, which is the movie we watched for our other podcast last week? Like if you they strap you to a chair and they're like, you have to watch While We're Young again or Splash.
Splash. I'd watch Splash 100
Agreed.
times over
Agreed.
while we're young.
Well, actually, that's not true. I would stare at Adam. I would turn off the sound.
Stare at Adam Driver,
and just look at Adam Driver's thighs in that barbecue outfit.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, wrong podcast. Wrong podcast. Sarah, you were saying about Splash. You hate everyone.
Yes, I hate everyone. I hate the plot. I don't like the writing.
You do not recommend to a friend.
No.
Okay.
Actually,
so you agree with your mom. This movie sucks.
Yes, I'm grateful my mom told me that.
Sorry that I brought this upon you.
No. No, I mean, I'm glad I saw it because like I had been curious about it, but now I know like it's just I don't care for it.
Fair. Fabrae, final thoughts on Splash.
I didn't like it. Honestly, I'm also glad that I watched it. I'm really glad that I watched it. But of the genre that we were talking about, the Born Sexy yesterday, this is like such a beat for beat example of it.
It is
that it just kind of takes me out of it. I do enjoy John Candy's performance.
Oh,
he was a pleasure.
I miss him.
And I miss him. He was so Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Please watch it. It's so good.
It's really good. Thanksgiving movie. Watch it at Thanksgiving. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
It's a holiday movie. Yeah, it's definitely a holiday movie. I would not recommend it to a friend unless they wanted to see an example of
Born
the type
yesterday.
of movies that I hate. Yeah. So that's my thoughts.
I'm gonna go on a limb here and say I still love this movie. It's got some problems, for sure. Like I can look through a lens now, just like I did with Overboard. This is similar to Overboard, where I can look at it and go, "This is problematic as hell." This is problematic as hell. This movie is problematic as hell. Do I still enjoy it? Yes. Do I wish some things had been written differently? Would I like to see this movie, something like this, spun in a way that is more appealing to my modern sensibilities as a woman? Would I have liked to see more than one female character in this movie? Fuck yes, I would have. But I love Tom Hanks. I can't help but kind of like Alan, despite we didn't even talk about that scene where she gets sprayed. Guys, we cannot leave without talking about it. We ran right over it because Fabrae, you really wanted to talk about it. So before we wrap it up, I did want to give you an opportunity to talk about the scene where Eugene Levy hoses her down and Alan does nothing.
Okay, yeah, no, that's really it. Yeah. It's just, I feel like I don't see it. Just to me, it kind of goes back to the whole thing that I had mentioned earlier when we were talking about what he was saying at the wedding. Yeah. Like, I want a wife and children and blah, 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 blah. But she's got to fit in this. And it's like the second she did not fit into that mold, he was, he was
fair.
Done.
That's fair. That's a good assessment of that. I think that's the most logical assessment of why that would work in the movie. To me, it felt out of character for him to do literally nothing because he feels such entitlement to her. I felt like at the very least his entitlement to her would have made him do something and then get pushed away. Like, I feel like he should have fought a little bit. It was like, I guess we're supposed to think he's in shock. I guess he's the only person reacting normally to a mermaid in this movie.
She was screaming for him. She was like, Alan. And he was looking at her like,
you were going to marry her after 3 days and it bothers you that she's a fish? I just don't get it.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I asked my boyfriend, I was like, if you had known me for 6 days and in those 6 days I didn't tell you that I was a mermaid, would you be this mad? And he was like,
actually, I have a mermaid kink, so no.
No, he was like 6 days. Yeah, I mean, like I would be upset, but like I wouldn't be like.
I don't think I'd let people take you away in a van.
Yeah. When is a convenient time for her
about it?
But she wanted to tell him. Like at first she was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything because I'm only going to be here for 6 days. He doesn't really need to know. But then it's like as she was falling in love and she saw that he was falling in love when really, she was just checking his boxes. She wanted to tell him. And then, he gives her shit in the fish tank later on, about like not telling him. And she's just like, dude, like, what do you think I've been doing this whole time?
What do you want from me?
But when is a convenient time to tell you
allowed to have secrets?
Yeah, between like banging sessions, like I'm surprised they had any conversations. Like if we're being honest,
Fair.
so I don't know. Whatever.
Alan
Alan sucks.
I still like this movie. I would recommend it to a friend because it's batshit crazy.
It is.
So crazy. Just for the fact that it's batshit crazy, I would recommend to it with a disclaimer of please keep in mind it was made in the 80s and it's problematic, but batshit crazy. Love Tom Hanks. Love John Candy. Love Eugene Levy. Daryl Hannah's great in the movie. I wish there was more. I mean, she did a lot with what she was given. I actually remembered Madison being kind of stupid, and in this movie I was like, oh, she's actually a fucking genius. She learned to speak an entire another language in 6 hours. She's actually a fucking genius. Like that's what they should study, is her ability to learn the entire human language in 6 hours from watching infomercials. That's what they should study, not her insides. But her cognitive abilities.
Yeah, agreed. If they were real scientists, I think that's what they would prioritize.
Yeah. Shall we do the Bechdel test?
Yes.
Does this film have more than one female character in it?
Yes.
It does. There's
technically
the
receptionist.
There's the woman at the Bloomingdale's.
Mm-hmm.
Is she a character?
She's not someone off the street. She's a character.
She has lines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in a very literal sense. I guess.
So there's more than one female character. Do those characters have names?
No.
I don't think the shopkeeper seems. I don't know that we got a name from her. Do two women have a conversation in this movie?
Yes.
Technically, yes.
Do they have a conversation about something other than a man?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, technically this does pass the Bechdel test, unfortunately.
I still want to kick Ron Howard.
I don't think this movie has any significant female relationships at all.
No, absolutely
Nothing.
Not. No.
So it's a technicality, really. And we've passed movies before on a technicality, but I mean, they talk about the dress and anorexia. That's what they talk about as a joke. But I don't think this movie has any significant female relationships whatsoever.
No.
0.
Welcome to Plug It Up. This is the part of the show where we talk about all the awesome things that our guests are doing, all the things that we're up to, and we plug some shit. Fabrae, what would you like to plug?
I feel like I plug it all the time, but I have a YouTube channel, and I have a series on my channel called Black Famous, where we review, critique, and love on all things Black media, and you should be a part of it. My very first video was about Life from 1999.
Nice.
This one is going to be this one that's coming is going
exclusive.
To be about coming to.
This is an exclusive announcement, you guys.
Yeah, exclusive. It's going to be Coming to America 2 that came out a couple months ago. I have thoughts. I have thoughts about it. So
excellent.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it.
And what's the name of your YouTube channel?
It is just my name, Fabrae Nicole, for right now, and just to make it easy to find, Fabrae Nicole.
Love it. So subscribe to that. And anything else you want to plug? Any social media? Any shows you're going to be on? This will come out. So this will come out like mid-May, this episode. So anything else you want to plug?
Not really. Last episode we plugged Calamity Fiasco Jam, which is something that I guest star on semi-regularly.
Nice.
So you may catch me there. I am also working on something that I cannot really talk about right now. But
cool.
Yeah, but hopefully it'll be out by the time this comes out.
Lovely.
I'll talk about it more on my Instagram, which is
awesome.
The Fabulous Creative.
Excellent. So follow on Instagram for more information about that. Subscribe on YouTube, and you can see Fabrae on the Calamity Show. So that was twitchtv.com/Calamity Fiasco. Yes,
that's it. You got it.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. So everybody, please go check that out. Fabrae is very funny. Love the video you did about Life. Looking forward to your thoughts on Coming to America 2. So go out there and subscribe to that. Cool. So I'm gonna go out and plug our YouTube channel, which is of course Critical Crop Top produces this podcast among other podcasts and films and live comedy and other things. So if you go look for Critical Crop Top on YouTube, you can watch the vidcast of this podcast. You can watch the vidcast of the Adam and Andy podcast, where Sarah and I watch Adam Driver and Andy Samberg movies. You can watch the Critical Crop Top Sketch Comedy Web Show, which all three of us are involved in, and new sketches being released twice a month. You can also check out all of our archive of all of our sketches from previous live shows and films and whatnot. And also, if you would like to talk to us about Splash, I would love to talk to you guys about Splash and what you thought and how you feel about the whole Born Sexy Yesterday trope. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Feminine Mistake Pod, and you can find us on Twitter at Femistake Pod. We're going to be taking a little hiatus after this. We're going to take a little summer break. So there's going to be a couple months over the summer. We've decided to take a little break. We've got some other projects, films and things in development. And so we're taking a little break, but you can still find Sarah and I over at the Adam and Andy podcast, which will continue throughout the summer, which of course, all of that is, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Adam and Andy podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Adam Andy pod. Whew! It was a mouthful. All right. Well, guys, it's been fun. Fabrae, it has been awesome to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And really appreciate all of your thoughts.
I had a blast.
I loved your PowerPoint presentation on why Alan is trash.
Yes, I love talking about shitty male protagonists. So whenever you need that insight, you know where to find me.
Well, we'll have to have you back on the show because there is a lot of them. There's no short supply of shitty male protagonists. TM. There's like plenty of those. So thanks everybody for listening to the show. And we will catch you again in a couple of months. Sarah, enjoy your break, but I will see you on the other show. So it's like a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
It's not break.
No, it's I'm excited to be a part of the other show because I would miss podcasting.
I know. I do. I love it too. I absolutely love it.